Thank you, Jim, for that. This is August 12th, 2024. This is session 23 of Discovering the Essence of Nonviolent Communication with Jim and Jori Manske. And I turn it to you, Jim.
Thank you, Martha. Yeah. So, wow, sometimes correction can be life-serving. Look at that. Yeah, so there's always a place for everything. And I'm feeling excited to be here. There's an empty seat beside me if Jori decides to join us. We had an early morning this morning. We actually left the house at 7:15 to go and do some fun medical appointments. So what would you call it? The progression has begun as I start navigating the medical system here to hopefully get my cough fixed. Some of you who've known me for a while know that sometimes I just have to mute myself because I have this terrible cough. And the cough has been we finally figured out what it is, and we might have a way to fix it. And so we're working on the fix. And I'm excited about that and a little bit anxious. But the test this morning, let me just express a gratitude. We left here at 7:15 and we were supposed to be at the medical center at 8 o'clock. It's about 45 minutes away, and that went well. I went in and checked in, and I got 3 medical tests done in 24 minutes. And without an appointment. They were all walk-in appointments. So I'm absolutely astonished at the efficiency. That's just not what I would normally expect. So I'm feeling really grateful for that, taking those positive steps towards hopefully more well-being for me and a longer time on the planet to contribute and have fun with you guys. So if you're here for the first time today, a special welcome. I'm really glad. Each of our classes is a standalone class. Some of us have been here since the beginning of this series, 23 classes ago. But that's okay, because each class, we kind of covered the basics, some aspect of the basics, and we focus on practice. Today, there'll be a little bit of learning about feedback, just because I think it's a fun topic and it's something that that I think can be helpful for you. Hey, Leanne, it's nice to see you. Hi, Jeanette. I love it when people turn their camera on and I can see them. Hey, Nancy. Hey, Juliana and Ocean and Marina. Yeah. Hey, Lisa J. It's so sweet to see your faces. So we will dive into openness to feedback, the next skill on the matrix, in a few minutes. But on our way there's a couple of other steps before we start the practice. One is, in a moment, Ron here, Happy Ron Hill, who's been coming to my groups on and off for I don't know how long, a decade maybe, something like that. He's going to sing a song for us that we can, it'll get us in the mood for practicing nonviolent communication together. Then we'll go to small groups where you'll have the chance to connect with friends and practice empathy and honesty with your friends, people maybe that you've never even met yet, but they're still your friends. And then we'll come back together for the large group, do some connection here. Then we will begin the practice session. So that's the plan. But before we dive in, let's just see if there's any needs on the table that need to be addressed before we start. Not seeing anything. So Ron, entertain us, please. Inspire us.
Well, thank you so much. This is a song I co-wrote about the joys of communication in long-term relationships. Go on, say it, girl, and say it again. I love the way it sounds when my name falls off your lips, just how it hits. Oh, you're pulling me in. Girl, don't you know with every word you start a fire and I love to burn. I can sit and listen to you all night long. Oh, 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 keep telling me just how you feel. much noise in the air, but you drowned it out. You got me listening now. I don't mind if you wanna say it one more time, say it one more time, yeah. I can sit and listen to you all night long. Oh, 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 oh. Keep telling me just how you feel and go on and on and on and on. 'Cause baby, when it comes to our love, I've heard enough to know I can never hear it enough. Yeah, oh, I can never hear it enough. Oh, keep saying them down through the years. Those three words I long to hear. I can sit and listen to you all night long. Oh, 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 keep telling me just how you feel and go on and on and on and on. 'Cause baby, when it comes to our love, I've heard enough to know I can never hear it enough. Hey, oh, I can never hear it enough. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Ron. So we take that as our cue to connect with ourselves. So you can do this with your eyes open, your eyes closed. Just check out your body's response to the song that you just heard. Without any judgment or expectation of what you'll find, just notice sensations. And greet those sensations with a sense of warmth. Whether it's tight or loose, open or closed, warm or cool, something else. Especially pay attention to sensations in your core, in your belly, your heart, your throat. What's it like in your body there? What emotions are you aware of flowing in your experience right now? Is there a name that you have for the emotions? Or maybe an image or a metaphor? And again, greet that emotional experience with warmth, with care. And then connect those sensations and emotions, your feelings, connect your feelings to your needs. What's important to you right now? And savor this divine energy that we call needs in NVC. There's a sweetness, whether the needs are satisfied in the moment or unsatisfied. There's an energy that we can surf, again, with this quality of warmth presence, openness. What would you say to yourself to acknowledge your needs right now? And so now we've used self-empathy to answer the first question that NVC can answer for us, which is, how are you right now? And it opens up the possibility to consider from now on. From now on, from this moment forward, what would make your life more wonderful? What requests arise in you that can contribute to the needs you've been savoring? And you can acknowledge these requests for yourself with that same warm voice. Oh, would you really enjoy it if? And then fill in the blank with a clear and present request of yourself, in this case, probably. Or maybe there's a wish or a desire that you'd like yourself to consider right now. And holding this space of self-empathy, we're going to transition. For those of you who do not have an equal sign in front of your name, we're going to transition into small groups of probably 3. There might be a couple of pairs or something like that. And so what do you do in the small group? Well, this is a chance to practice empathy and honesty. Empathy is just the listening part of NVC. And so that'll be about 2/3 of your time. We'll do this for about 15 minutes. So you get about 10 minutes of practice with empathy. And empathy just means listening with an open heart, without any moral judgment of what the other person's saying, without any words. No words are required for empathy. So empathy is presence, space, focus on the other person's feelings and needs. And then when it's your turn to talk, you'll be able to express yourself. What's alive in you? When it's your turn to talk, do you want to talk about how the song affected you? Do you want to talk about how this self-connection exercise affected you? Or is there something else that you're bringing into the group that you want to celebrate or mourn? Maybe a breakthrough with your practice of NVC, or maybe a stumbling block that you discovered. What's alive in you? What would you like to be heard about? You'll have about 5 minutes to express that. Okay. So we'll be back together in the large group in about 15 minutes. You'll see a timer likely in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, and it'll let you know how much time you have left. Do your best to make sure that everybody has equal time. If you have a chance to do more than one round, that's fine. And you can keep practicing. All right, we'll see you back here in 15 minutes.
I'll be here in case anything is needed, any last minute changes or something. I will be here. So, espérate, chiquilín. So, Hi, Umesh, welcome.
Hi, Martha. Sorry,
How are you?
I'm good.
That's nice. We are in breakouts, but people, it's
Yeah,
about
we-
in 3 minutes. It's okay for
good.
you to wait here?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect.
I had kept on forgetting last 3 sessions. Today I remembered when my son wanted me to give him he wanted me to take him for a walk.
Okay.
So I said, okay. So I said, okay.
Here I am. Here I am.
Hi, everybody who's in here. Everybody else will be back soon. People starting to trickle in now. Maybe some of you who are coming early will decide to speak up today. Love to hear fresh voices. Love to hear all the voices. But if you haven't spoken for a while, or welcome back. You never really go anywhere, but it's always fun to say welcome back. It's fun to see your faces. Yeah. So do a quick version of that self-connection exercise. And just notice right now, after having that experience, how does your body respond to that? What's your body telling you now? What sensations and emotions are present for you? And what are those feelings telling you about your needs? And if you have a request to speak that arises in you, do what Allison and Tanya have done and raise your electronic hand. Please let us hear your voice. Tanya.
What we talked about in our group, Jim, was how much we care about you and our well wishes for your upcoming operation. And we just really all talked about how you've impacted our lives in a positive way. And some tears were shed.
Oh.
Um,
Now more are being shed by me. So yeah.
So just love just how you love all the people who come here. And as you and I know, there's been people who've come that many people had a hard time being with. And yet I never heard you say anything to anyone other than recognizing their beauty and that they were doing the best they could at the moment. And that's so rare in the world. And
Mm.
just wanting you to be able to continue to give your message in the world as your authentic self. There's nothing there's nothing artificial about what you are doing, in my opinion. I see you as presenting your full and whole self every time.
Thank
So
you.
that's what happened in our smoke.
Wow, thanks for sharing. I'm really touched and feeling warm and grateful that you were giving me that sense of support and care. I really appreciate it. Yeah. I made an announcement on the CNVC Global Home about my decision to do this medical thing, and that means that I'm going to be stepping back from one of the roles that I have with CNVC as a member of the Assessor Coordinating Circle, which is like the group of us of assessors that care for the certification process. And I just got a lot of really wonderful, warm messages like the one you just gave me. And I decided that it would be a good strategy for me to quit more things more often. And so I might just keep quitting. Thank you, Tanya. And Allison, you had your hand up. Did you change your mind?
Well, I didn't. I just rushed in. I was late getting in, so I didn't get to hear what you had presented. And then Tanya spoke about some medical thing that you were going through. I thought, oh, I really want to know about.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna do a little procedure that's gonna hopefully fix my cough. When people get my age, this started probably when I was in my late 50s. Often, many of our ancestors certainly didn't make it into their 50s, and so our bodies start doing some weird stuff. Some of us, and mine started doing something weird in late 50s, and it's something called a hiatal hernia. And most people, when they think of hernia, they think of something deep in your belly. And my hernia is way up here. And so it's where the throat and where the esophagus and the stomach meet. So because of that, my tummy is actually part of it's leaking out and sitting right here on top of my lungs and on top of my heart. And that probably leads to a host of uncomfortable symptoms for me. Coughing, irregular heartbeat sometimes, and so forth. So this procedure is going to be relatively non-invasive as far as surgeries go. It's called laparoscopic, where they make this teeny tiny incision and they go in and they do repair. And that'll happen at the end of September. And there's some steps I need to take between now and then, and we'll make sure you guys are taken care of during that period of time. We've got some plans for you to meet some other trainers, including some trainers that probably come to this call. And so we'll be letting you know how that unfolds as we go. So that's the story, Allison.
Thank you. And I was thinking that you were going to say, I will be sure to let you know, because I want to be part of the whatever you would call it, the juju support team, the prayer team. We're with you energetically, however you want to picture it, but yeah, like.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I think Jori will need some support too. So send her some positive waves, maybe give her a phone call when things are going, because her workload's going to go up. She takes care of me. I expect to make a full recovery and have a wonderful Thanksgiving dinner, but it'll be a little bit of a road to hoe between now and then. Yeah.
It sounds like a really
yeah.
to be really rejuvenating.
I hope so. I hope so. I'm looking
I
forward to
just-
it because it's really affected me. You know, I love to be outdoors and to garden and to walk. And this last this last 9 months, it's gotten progressively worse. I can't do what I love to do so much anymore in the garden. So I'm really hoping that the repair will take care of that, and I can get back there and dig holes. I love digging holes and putting new plants in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great, wow.
I'm a
Good.
seed planter. That's why I do this class. I'm planting seeds for nonviolence too. Thanks, Allison. Sherry?
Thank you.
Ni hao?
你好, Jim. Hello, all. It's just a one word say to you because I guess maybe there are more referring to your medical future. End of September, some surgery, but I won't refer for that. I heard when you said you are managing with Marcia about CNVC about next few months. How about some trainers to be on this room?
Yeah.
My response is it's already 23 times. Jesus. It was far above what I expected. Because for me, I see every weekly practice. That's so important. And I see how I progressed. So no matter what kind of trainers as your successors, I truly believe you carry yourself. Because no matter who, it will be really creating fun, and whatever result or whatever with us, that's new creation.
Yeah.
Please take care of yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I really love your image of a new creation, because one of the things that really attracted to me about NVC when I first got involved, which is now 24 years ago, almost 24 years ago. Well, of course, there's Marshall, you know, and I got to see him many times and hang out with him a lot. But then I also got to train with folks like Sylvia Haskevitz and Shura Hart and Robert Gonzalez and Wes Taylor. And, you know, there's a pretty long list of folks that came to Albuquerque, or Jori and I traveled to go see. And what I loved was that every trainer has a different experience of nonviolent communication. And what they share is their own experience of NVC. And I learned so much from every single one of them. And I stole a lot of their ideas and I incorporated them into how I share NVC. That was Marshall's advice. He said, you know, take what you can and give it away. And so that's always been our aim. And you know, I think NVC trainers have the easiest, well, maybe not the easiest, have the best to be compared to have the best job in the world, because we only have one job, and that's to show up and love people. We just get to love people. And I can't think of a better way to spend my life than hanging out with you guys and getting to empathize with you and be present with you and share something that's important to me. Thanks, Sherry. And Pallavi, good to see you.
Good to see you, Jim. And every time you mention Albuquerque, my heart just melts, because I was in Albuquerque till 2008. And I'm like, oh my God, I wish I knew about NVC. Of course, I did not know about NVC at all. And a lot of good memories come to my mind. So just wanted to acknowledge that.
Oh, sweet, sweet. Yeah. Albuquerque, there's a couple people here from Albuquerque, at least one that I see today, Allison. I can't see my other screen, but Albuquerque was good to us. Jori and I spent almost 30 years in Albuquerque, and we raised our kids there and created an NVC community. I think at the peak, we had 4,000 people on our email list and got to train lots and lots of people. And we're doing like 4 practice groups a week. And And it was really, really a great training ground for me as a trainer. I learned so much, and really appreciate all those folks who were willing to stick in there with us during those early days, like Allison, who was one of our first victims. And she would come and she would love us right back. And, you know, she'd already been with Marshall, so she had a really pretty high comparison bar that she could have used, but she never used it. She just used it. She just used her love to support us and keep learning. And here she is 24 years later, still hanging out with us. It's really, really sweet. Thank you, Pallavi. And I see Elena here. I don't think I've met you, Elena, but I see that you're from Los Angeles. And I wanted to just say hello to you and make sure you're okay. I heard you guys had an earthquake today. I know you're kind of used to that thing, but how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I think this is my second time ever, so I'm super excited to join you guys. I saw some videos about the earthquake. Yeah, we had an earthquake, but I didn't notice. I was in my classroom with my students and they said, there's an earthquake. And I was like, oh, okay. So not, at least not where I live, I didn't notice, but thank you.
I'm glad. Thank you. And Fumiko, I see you here too. I wonder how if the earthquake affected you. I think it was pretty far south of where you are, but if you'd like to share what it was like for you, I'd love to hear.
Hello, Jim and everybody. Thank you for your care. Actually, when the earthquake hit in Japan, I was attending Yoram class. I was really upset, but there was somebody who could give me empathy. So that was really powerful and healing for me. And then after the class, I wanted to cook. So I pressed the gas stove so many times, but it didn't put the fire. So I Googled it and I find out our automatic system to block the fire when there is some certain level of the big magnitude. So it stopped. So I needed to go outside and reset the gas machine. So I'm grateful it works. At the same time, I got scared to the extent the magnitude. And now everybody is a bit worried. It's a high traveling season in Japan for worshiping our ancestor. But people are, shall we go or shall we cancel? So yeah, that's the situation now. So thank you for asking. Yeah.
You're welcome. I really catch that it had an impact on you and that you have a lot of gratitude that you happened to be in an NVC setting at the time and you got caught. You had someone who was there to really support you in your fear. It's really inspiring to hear.
And I just wish that there will be no more damage coming in Japan because it has been many people already affected.
Yeah.
So I just pray for the peaceful nature. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Shami?
Yeah, I'm just enjoying being here, Jim, and your humor and how you integrate learning and humor. So naturally, like I enjoyed what you said, like show up and love people. That's really beautiful and very moving also. And I've come out to a Zoom call like this after a long time with a community which is working with NVC. Probably because I was dealing with my own stuff, trying to figure out things around finances, and so yeah, so I was busy with that. And then I just had a morning that, you know, just to have time and ease with time, which I have a little bit more now, and it's such a privilege, and probably yeah, more like a morning that I wish that more people can have ease so that they can have time to reflect and connect and, you know, and show up and love each other. Yeah. So I think our world is kind of in such a way that, you know, the busyness of it and, you know, and sustaining and all that pressure. And this thought came to me that the people who are coming and working in our own house also, and, you know, and how can I contribute to their lives also, and to create that time and space to do this work also, you know, not just so, yeah, because it's because the beauty of what's emerging today. I mean, I'm feeling that morning.
Mhm. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I touched that morning with you. There's so much busyness and such a longing and a need for self-connection, for self-reflection, for charging our batteries. And it's really, really sweet for you to acknowledge that. And it's really wonderful to see you. It's been so long. So for those of you who don't know, I met Shami gosh, in 2017, he invited us to Jaipur in India, where he hosted an NVC workshop for us, and it was a real transformative experience for me that I reflect on a lot. It was one of the most fun experiences I ever had, and most transformative to be a Westerner in India, to be someone who comes with as much privilege and as much luck as I've had, to then be in India was quite shocking for me to see what it was like. Shocking on so many different levels, including meeting the man who runs a place called Jaipur Rugs, who is who hired us with Shami's help to come in and teach NVC to his managers. And Jaipur Rug is I guess they're still in existence because I still get their YouTube videos. And they help, it's a social change project of incredible magnitude, helping women to become sustainable and to help weave some of the most beautiful and amazing rugs that probably exist on the planet. So I'll be forever grateful to you, Shami, for inviting us and hanging out with us in India. Thank you. Yeah. All right, that seems to finish the hands right on time, I guess. But if you've been waiting to be last, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll hear one more voice if there is one. And again, practice. Take this opportunity. Every moment, Marshall said, every moment is a chance to practice. So we're doing another transition, a transition from this large group work where we get to kind of hang out with each other in community. Now we're going to transition to Jim being a talking head for a few minutes and slides and learning. So just notice how it is for you in this moment to make that transition. Notice how our last few minutes have affected you. And give yourself some warmth and some care. And check to see if you need something right now. We don't take a formal break, so we take only informal breaks. If you need to stretch your body, get a drink, get something to eat, anything like that, it's perfectly okay. Follow your needs. Okay. So let's do a little learning. I'm going to share my screen with you. Oops, I need to be able to share my screen, Marta. Okay. There we go. So the class today is openness to feedback. Let me know if you don't see openness to feedback on your screen. And so this is coming from a group of 28 NVC skills that Jori and I, along with Jake Gottwalls and Jack Lehman, wrote back in about 2006. We started the project. And it's 28 skills that help us to more fully live the consciousness of NVC. And we're about halfway through now, maybe a little more than halfway through. I think we're about number 18 out of 28. And the class today is on openness to feedback. So just notice how your body feels just hearing that word, feedback. Because it can be scary for some people to confront that word, feedback. A lot of us have painful memories of feedback. And so the idea of becoming open to it sounds crazy. Why would I want to be open to something that can stimulate pain in me? So we're going to learn some stuff about feedback today that hopefully will prepare you for the next time you get feedback, no matter how it comes. So this is about receiving another person's perspective about our actions, our behavior, with equanimity and centeredness. And here's the pathway. Originally, we all kind of get the impression from the way we've been schooled and educated that if something's wrong, we're getting feedback because we made a mistake, or maybe we're getting feedback that we did something right. We're getting, praise. And so we hear feedback as either criticism or praise. That's where we all start. Once we start getting educated, I've mentioned Nora, our grandchild, who's now about, 8 months old, 7 months old. And she does not experience as anything as criticism or praise yet, because she hasn't been educated by us. She experienced everything as energy. And I want to be like her when I grow up. I want to just be able to awaken, to become aware that that if I receive feedback, it's energy. It's actually somebody else doing their best they can to love me in the moment. And I want to be able to transform my reactivity about it. So that's what we call the awakening phase. And then as we keep growing and learning about feedback and practicing NVC, we get curious about what's going on in ourselves and get curious about what's going on in the other person when they decide to give us the gift of their feedback. And when it gets more fully integrated, we just get it as energy, as information, and we see that it supports us in clarity and freedom. And we also get to see that nobody's ever talking about us. They're always talking about their own experience. So we're going to talk briefly about 4 kinds of feedback. And feel free to take pictures of these screens if you're that kind of a person, but you'll get all of this in the classroom. So you don't even need to take notes or anything if you don't want to, but if you want to, that's fine. So if you think about feedback, often we've all had an experience that we've done something wrong. And I was very moved by a book by Robert Keegan, 7 Languages of Transformation. It's not an NVC book, but it's the best book about NVC that's not about NVC that I ever read. And he calls this destructive criticism. And destructive criticism is characterized by being demeaning, depreciative, punitive. And it's like someone's trying to teach us a lesson when they give us this kind of feedback. And the focus of the person giving the feedback is what's wrong. What's wrong about my behavior? What's wrong about me? And when I get that kind of feedback, it tends to stimulate guilt, shame, depression, anxiety, and other kinds of separating emotions. It doesn't really help me learn much. And then there's just an example. You must be some kind of an idiot. You continue to make the same mistake over and over again. What a loser. And you can see we did a little bit of learning about these 4 Ds of disconnection last week or the week before. And you can see that this is like an expression of demand energy, of diagnosis, of deserve energy, and of denial of responsibility, all packed into one little compact package of destructive criticism. The next kind of feedback is a focus on what's right. And there was like a revolution in psychology in the late 60s, early 70s, and it really continued and got deep in the 80s when my kids were growing up. And this is where constructive criticism became important. And it was like, okay, we're going to help people by finding them. We're going to catch them doing something right. And we're going to praise them when they do it. So there's lots of attaboys, good girl, gold stars, A's on your report card. We used to bribe our children with money to get them to read. So that's an example of constructive criticism. The idea is just to be supportive, to be really clear. If you read this book, I'm going to give you $1. It's about being instructive, about really teaching. You can see some of the beautiful needs that might be behind constructive criticism. And you might think that constructive criticism, boy, if I had my choice between constructive criticism and destructive criticism, I know what my choice would be. But it's still judgment. It's still someone putting themselves in the position of God and deciding what's right and what's wrong and focusing on what's right. And then we praise them when they do it. On the positive side, it might stimulate some pride of accomplishment in the person receiving that kind of feedback, but it also can stimulate anxiety, worry, and confusion, because the confusion can come from, we don't know why they're giving us this praise. What did I do? And then if we kind of get, like, I remember I got very addicted to getting A's when I was in school. And every time, the report card would come out, I would have all kinds of anxiety and worry. And I think my parents might have bribed me to get A's. I think I might have got $1 or something, probably a quarter back in those days for an A. I can't quite remember that, but wouldn't surprise me. It was just so common in the culture that we would want to praise somebody and train them to be good little capitalists and get money for behaving in the right way. So you did a good job on that presentation. You're a good trainer, Jim, that sort of thing. Well, luckily, there's some nonviolent versions of feedback. One kind is deconstructive feedback. These are, again, the words of Keegan and Leahy, who wrote that book, 7 Languages of Transformation. And here we're really changing. We're changing our attitude. We're becoming explorers with the other person that we're giving feedback to. We're not trying to tear them down. We're not trying to build them up. We're trying to learn together. And the focus is on our own evaluation or judgment. What can I learn from my judgment here? I might be able to transform my moral judgments into a value judgment. What needs of mine are met by this behavior and so forth, and what needs are not met. So it's a classic NVC opportunity. I'm noticing a judgment in me that you should help me, even when I don't ask. I'd like to explore this, and I wonder if you'd be willing to listen to me and help me connect with my needs. How would that be for you? You can see the 4 components of NVC in there. It starts with an observation. I'm noticing a judgment in me. I'm making an observation about my own thinking. And then I'm linking it to a should, this jackal thought in me, this moral judgment. And then I say what my need is. I'd like to explore, and my feeling, I wonder. And then I request, would you be willing to listen to me and help me connect with my needs? How would that be for you? We can also practice nonviolent feedback through a demonstration, where we might hear what another person says or watch how they behave. This is especially effective in children, where we notice a particular behavior, and rather than tell them what they did wrong or what they did right, we demonstrate what we saw or what we heard, and then we give them an alternative. And this kind of feedback tends to stimulate curiosity, wonder, affection, care, connection, and so forth. And then the other final form of feedback that we'll talk about today is gratitude. And here it's very clear what the intention is. The intention is to connect. This, for me, is almost like the purest way of practicing NVC. I call it the superhighway of integrating NVC if we get into a gratitude practice. Because in order to really do gratitude, you have to have this intention to connect. And we're focusing on needs, and we're focusing on making clear observations about what the other person did, not on who they are. So we're focusing on behavior. Again, this tends to stimulate curiosity, wonder, appreciation, and love. And so an example would be, I noticed you put the dishes away without me asking. That's the observation. Wow, that's the feeling. That really makes life easier for me. The need. Right now, I appreciate the support. More feelings. How do you feel hearing that? A clear and present request. So it's look, that's less than 40 words that we can use to express gratitude and open up a conversation with somebody that can let them know exactly what they did that made our life more wonderful, or vice versa. I'll stop there and see if I've overwhelmed you too much, and if you have any questions before we do the practice. Okay, so now you get to practice. First step in the practice. Think of a time when you heard destructive criticism. If you don't want to use destructive criticism, you can use constructive criticism. You'll get to the same place. So if you want a really gentle practice, choose a time when you heard an attaboy or an attagirl. But if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can think of a time when you heard blame or criticism. And write down what you saw and what you heard. Sometimes it's helpful when the trainer gives an example. And so if you're stuck, I'll just give a brief example. I was talking to somebody recently, a couple weeks ago, and what I heard them say was, Jim, you said something to me, and when you said it, I lost trust in you. That was a difficult message for me to hear. Looks like some folks are finished writing and some folks are still writing. So if you finish writing, you can take it a little deeper. You can go back and look at what you wrote and make sure that it's just an observation, just what you see, hear, smell, taste, or touch, or you're reporting on a thought. And so take out anything that doesn't look like an observation. About 1 more minute for this part. Okay. If you want to keep working on that, you can, but there's a next step. And so we're going to practice, we're going to do some writing about different ways that we might respond to this difficult critical message. And the first way is we're going to respond to this destructive criticism with our own destructive criticism. We call it jackal ears out. We're putting on our jackal ears, our ears of moral judgment, and we're blaming the other person. And so in my example, I hear, Jim, you're not trustworthy. And my response, my jackal ears out response is, I'm not trustworthy? You didn't tell me this for 4 years. Now tell me who's trustworthy. You've been lying to me. You've been deceiving. You can get the picture, right? So go ahead and run off your jackal show for your destructive criticism towards the other person. Give yourself permission to suffer in this way, and let them have it. You don't have to share this with anybody. It's private, just for you. But let your jackal ears out go.
Jim, I'm a little confused about what to do if I used praise.
Okay. Then let's say somebody said, Jim, you did a good job with that training. And I'm in a jackally mood. I might just think, oh, what are you not telling me? You're probably just trying to butter me up so that you can get a discount on our next training. Or, something like that. Get creative. Write your own novel.
Got it.
Okay. About 30 more seconds of suffering with expressing this destructive criticism. And as you finish your jackal show, what Marshall called your jackal show, just put your pen down if you've been writing and tune into your body. Notice the effect on your body of this kind of talk. Maybe it's some mixed feelings. There might be some relief in getting something off your chest to stop repressing something that you might have been repressing or suppressing. Maybe there's a sense of constriction in your body, tight muscles, tight jaws, tight fists. I claimed that it would be a stimulation for your suffering. Check it out for yourself. Are you suffering when you talk like this? Is it making your life more wonderful? And just be with whatever you notice in terms of sensations and emotions when you're living in the consciousness of destructive criticism towards another person. And then when you're ready, just let it go for a second. Look around the room. Let go of that jackal ears out energy. Just look around, maybe, especially if you can look out a window or look at a plant or a pet or a piece of art or a photograph of someone that you love. Just kind of let go of that destructive criticism for the moment. And then we're going to go back and do jackal ears in. Now we're going to just aim that destructive criticism at yourself. It's your fault that they are giving you this criticism or praise. It's all your fault. So, of course, in my situation, oh God, what did I do now? Did she must be right. I must have deceived her in some way. I don't remember doing it, but my memory is not what it used to be. She must be right. She's younger than me, so it's all my fault. It's my fault that she feels this bad. It's my fault that she lost trust in me and that she's angry with me, and so forth. So now give yourself an equal dose of destructive criticism towards yourself for a couple minutes.
I can't hear you, Jim, but I can see your mouth moving. I'm not sure if everyone
Thank
was.
you, Tanya. Yeah, so now again, tune into your body, let go of the writing. And notice the effect of this kind of thinking. What do you notice in your body now when you're blaming yourself? When the quality of your consciousness is about what you've done wrong? Sensations and emotions. And being with them with a sense of warmth. Like you're with your best friend, or your lover, or your child. How would you be with someone who was talking to themselves in this way, to let them know that you cared? And then again, let it go. Look around and get ready for some liberation. You guys have already had lots of practice with this today, but we're going to do a specific practice of self-empathy about this particular observation that you wrote. So we're going to do giraffe ears in. We're going to imagine we're putting our NVC ears on, and we're going to be focusing them on our own direct emotional experience. We hear the original message, either the critical one or the praise one, and we just take it in. It's coming into us, and we follow that observation directly to our body-based experience. What happens in your body? How does it register for you right now? What's your authentic experience? And describe that to yourself. What sensations and emotions? You're feeling, like in my case, I'm feeling hurt, confused, nervous, embarrassed. It's kind of a quality of emptiness. What's it like for you? And again, be with yourself with a quality of warmth. Of course, it can be painful to hear a message like this. No one gets up in the morning hoping that they're going to get criticism. No one gets up in the morning hoping that they get a fix for their addiction to praise. Just not the way we think. And so it's painful when we get messages like this. They're always a surprise at some level, a shock. So care for yourself when you're with this quality of pain. Sometimes you see my hands on my heart. That just helps me to remember where I'm putting my energy. It's like a gentle hug for myself. And see if you can connect to your needs. I'm going to put a needs chart up. It might be helpful for some of you. I can find it. What are you needing? Here comes the needs chart. Use your own words. You don't have to use these words. These words can just be an inspiration for you. What are you needing in that moment? What are your feelings telling you are important? I'm really needing understanding, acceptance. It's kind of ironic. I'm needing trust. Trust isn't even on this list. Oh, there it is, under well-being. I'm needing trust. And it's really missing. And I'm needing healing. What are you needing? And again, be with this energy, the living energy, what Robert Gonzalez, another NVC trainer, called the living energy of these needs, or the beauty of these needs. Marshall called it surfing, to surf this energy of needs like it's the most fun wave you've ever been on. About 30 more seconds for this part. And again, notice the effect on your body of having this quality of an emotional experience where you're greeting yourself with warmth and empathy. And then holding this energy of self-empathy, we shift to the PhD program. What's alive in the other person when they talk to you this way? This is giraffe ears out. We're putting our giraffe ears on. We're focusing on the other person's heart, on their emotional experience. What do you imagine is alive in them? In my case, my empathy guess is they're feeling scared and they're needing trust. I trust that they say they need trust. Something was shattered for them. Doesn't matter whether I remember it that way or not. It's what their experience is. They're feeling scared, maybe hopeless, helpless, frustrated, because they're needing trust, care. What's your guess about the other person in your case? By the way, you don't have to agree that it was a good idea for them to give you this criticism. Instead, you're seeing that it's just the best they could do in that moment, given the way they've been educated and the life experiences that they've had. This is the best they could do to express themselves in this moment. Yes, it's painful for you, but it's coming from their own pain. So you're just being present with their pain in the way that you were just present for your own. And we're going to go back to small groups to talk about this for 17 minutes. So 17 minutes in the small group, please, Marta. And the idea is that everybody will have, again, a little bit more than 5 minutes to share your experience of these 4 choices in the presence of feedback that you didn't enjoy, especially noticing the quality of your consciousness with each of the
Whee!
Look what I found.
Ah, and what I found was my energy. I had a nice little rest, a little nap, and now I'm ready to play with you.
Yeah, perfect. Last 9 minutes. So as we make this transition back, the invitation is again to notice your body as we come back to here, to this larger configuration. And to give yourself that same quality of giraffe ears in. And then let's hear what you learned through this practice today. I'm especially interested to hear, what did you notice about the quality of your consciousness with these 4 different choices? Did you notice anything? What did you notice? And so if you'd enjoy being heard, like Marina, just raise your hand like she did. Go ahead, Marina.
I noticed that I really like to be doing the exercise correctly. And when you offered us to do praise or negativity, I chose praise. So your first questions didn't fit. So midway I changed by finding a negative thing. So only halfway through did I change to the negative, and found that I was able to tune into my body and see the feelings of receiving that negative message and putting my jackal ears on to respond to it. And then I turned back to trying to respond to it the positive way and try to compare to myself. So I tried to get the needs that were expressed in it. I think it's probably hard for me to explain it to you without giving you a little background. What the person said to me was, and this in one instance, you're parsimonious. And I have a goal of trying to walk lightly on the planet, make a small footprint, to really try to be simple, live a simpler lifestyle. So I don't spend a lot of money on myself, but I do spend a lot of money on the food that I prepare for other people. So I didn't think that she was totally right, but it caused me some hurt and confusion. And this actually caused me to think a lot about my goal and whether I'm doing it right. So I learned, I guess, that being on the right track or heading the right way is very important to me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Being in alignment with your own values is really vital for you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And did you catch any guesses about what it might have been going on in this other person when they made this claim about you?
Well, she's a good friend and she's pretty perceptive. So that didn't help. I thought maybe she was a little frustrated with what I had said or done. I can't remember that. I can't remember what triggered her response. And maybe she too had similar goals and but didn't go about them the same way.
Oh. Yeah, that's often the case in conflict, that you end up with a little self-empathy and empathy. You discover that the needs are really identical, that it's the strategies that are different. That's beautiful that you noticed that, Marina.
Yeah. So I think probably when you start off, I should ask you if we're going to go through with the negative one. I was waiting for you to tell me that we were going to change to the positive one. And then then I would have had more, sequential thoughts.
Right.
So I'll try to do that next time. So thank you.
Okay, good. And it's the same thing, by the way. Even if you get praise, it's the same. It's just the flip side of Jackal. It's like, I don't know, maybe I wasn't this way before NVC, but I become super sensitive to praise, where it just scares me when I get praise. It scares and confuses me. And I've learned how to then make requests to get clarity on what the other person's talking about. Tanya?
I raised my hand because I hit something that I thought I hadn't thought about before. And you know how you say when you do this exercises, don't go for the worst. So I totally disregarded that, and I brought up a childhood memory of not having done my homework and having my father yell at me and make me answer the questions until I got them all right. And of course, the more he yelled at me, the worse I did. And I just kind of went into this puddle. And I thought, to even have Jackal out or Jackal in or self-empathy or empathy for other people, you have to not be in a traumatic experience. You have to actually have your brain working.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's hard to be in the middle of a trauma response and have empathy for yourself or others.
Or even Jackal thoughts. I mean, it's just like there was nothing there. There was just like, oh God, get me out of this. If I survive this, I promise I'll never do anything bad again,
Yes, I've made that promise myself.
Yeah, I think that's not foreign to many of us.
And you get some gratitude from Elspeth in the chat, by the way. You might want to go and savor that. And Allison?
Can we slide on?
Wow, after all these years of practice, and we get that this was kind of a real, the elements, and then the basic elements, Jacqueline, Jack Loud. Wow, when it was applied to this situation that I had experienced, I really saw how unaware observations, really unaware most of the time of where I am out of those four positions. And the Jackal in, I suspect it, because I feel the consequences of the harpy the internal heart, be critical, jackal. You didn't do it right. But this really, having the whole landscape of the sort of empathetic giraffe, everyone was on stage simultaneously. From inside me, they were all on stage, and I found that enormously sobering.
Yeah, sounds like you really activated your observational skills, and you could see with a quality of clarity. Everyone was just playing their part in this melodrama.
Yeah, and all the parts were nobody was listening to anybody else internally.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's like my friend Krista Morf, my mentor here in Maui. She says it's two deaf people talking. You know, it's just like we're like this. We're not. We're talking, but we're not listening.
Yeah. There's
you
no
have-
place, there's no space for it anymore. So
And any of the four players doesn't even get a chance inside me to finish their thought before the other ones. Right. So this is wonderfully revealing.
Very good. Thank you, Allison. I appreciate your sharing. And then we'll go to Arnima and finish with Juliana because we're at the top of the hour or the bottom in India. Arnima.
Yes. Hi, thank you. I was wanting to share that this was quite explosive for me because it came in at when we had Jack All Years out. I was quite shocked at how much actually came out. I chose a situation that is live and that I used for the last session as well. And in the actual live, when it actually happened, what I realized about myself is I transitioned so quickly to giraffe out that I am really not allowing full rein to jackal out. So there's a whole, since you gave us so much time, it was so explosive. There was crying, there was tears. I had to switch off the camera and I said, oh my God, elevated heartbeat, what's happening? So it was really wonderful to explore and discover that because I am somewhere on this graph, I am switching over so quickly to what the other person is needing that I'm not really giving myself the time to fully express, to fully perceive and notice what's happening for me. And I think there's such a gift in there because I know this, that, you know, it's fine. It's all okay. At the same time, maybe I haven't been allowing myself this space. And I would really like to acknowledge this jackal of mine who is a giraffe with a language problem. And you know, and I would really like to allow him or her into my zoo. So I also really enjoyed the noticing and also noticing the sensations, and really enjoyed viewing my jackal in as a friend or a lover or a mother, because that was really nurturing as well. So as much as I've often tried to work so much on the giraffe out and the giraffe in, that I'm really, really grateful for this little explosion.
Wow, how touching to hear. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you were able to find empathy and self-empathy for these different parts of yourself that are so vital. Yeah,
And the deeper insights of it. Yeah, beautiful.
yeah, wonderful.
Thank you.
And Juliana, I hope you're going to tell us a little bit about what's happening on Saturday for you, Friday for us.
Yeah, I will. I want to thank you, Jim, my assessor, Jori, my teacher. No, I just want to thank you both, and you both just get deeper and deeper. Like today, what Arun was saying about the, you know, for me, what really struck me for the first time is put my hand on my heart and give myself a gentle hug, and you know, like talking lovingly, like what lovingly, like lovingly saying. But you both just get deeper. Now, don't take this as praise, please. It's just the impact, Jim. So don't get nervous or wonder. It's just the impact, my honest impact of what touched me. And yes, yes. So, Jim, you have been my assessor. I just want to thank you for this. You've been my guide. You have shown me by your example, not just your words. Jori, the topic I'm going to be talking about, it's my assessment presentation, is transforming enemy images.
Yes.
And I learned it from you, Jori,
Yeah.
first time I ever heard it. So that is so important. I want you to be pleased there, to please be there. I want to acknowledge you for this. And your words, I've actually put your words down there. You'll hear it there. And Jim, when you go, I don't mind sharing it with this community if you feel you want to do that when you are out. And I want you to know, Jim, that the love of and the energy of this whole community will be with you when you're not with us. Just to know this and to feel it, this beloved divine energy surrounding you and carrying you. And please keep us informed of how you are doing, because you are in our hearts. Okay.
Yeah, I will be available for that.
Jori, we are with you. I just want you to know, sending you all the love, the strength, the faith that you need, the extra energy you need to carry Jim through this.
I know, I gotta carry him. Yes,
Love
well,
you,
I'll be by his side. You're right. And
yeah, love you, Jori.
Thanks, Juliana. And
Thank you,
I put the information if you want to join us on Saturday morning in India, Friday evening here in North America. There's the information in the chat that Juliana sent out to folks today. And come celebrate with us and give her feedback. Yeah, it's a very special event.
And a great opportunity for a lot of learning too, not just for her, but for all of us who attend.
Yeah, thanks, Juliana.
Jim, you're
welcome.
We'll finish with Rita.
Hi, I just want to share some of my learning on these 4 parts. I try to regard Jackal. It's also good for us. So from my experience, I would regard the jackal ears in. It's a kind of alarm that's I'm experiencing some emotional response. And then I should be alert on my status. And jackal ears out is also a very good chance for some energy to be released. Once I had a case that my partner asked me to go direct to empathy myself, the giraffe ears in. I couldn't do that without jackal ear out. So I have to release all the energy that I felt inside. So after that, I have the space for myself to do the giraffe ear in, and I empathize myself, and then empathy other. By empathy other, I also have a very good experience with a partner. So we have different view to see the different perspectives, different. So the viewpoint is more that so I could do better empathize and come with peaceful mind, and maybe the request, the strategy would be naturally come out with kindness. And I would also thanks for my partner in the group. She shared, because I was on the move earlier. So she tried to explain everything to me, and so that I can do the empathy listening together with her. And thanks for her experience and brought me some experience wants to share today. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much, Rita.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's time for the after party. If you haven't had enough yet, if anybody wants to join the after party, thank you, Marta. And after party just means a chance to get together in another Zoom room and hang out. Sometimes there's 2 people there. And actually, once there was 1 person there. They stayed there for a while, and I don't know, they were giving themselves empathy, I guess. And but sometimes there's more, and you can stay as long as you like. So the Zoom room should be open. I'll go check. And then we'll see you next week, where we're going to talk about beneficial regret. And so your homework is to make a mistake this week. And
That won't be too challenging, I imagine. It certainly happens for all of us.
Yeah. If you win some, you lose some. All right. Thank you all for being here, and we'll see you next week. I look forward to it. Aloha.
Thank you so much. Aloha.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks,
Thank you.
bye. Thank you, St. Jori.
Thank you so much. Aloha.